Thanks for jumping on, everybody. Today, Monday, we've got the 9th of November. It's coming up towards the end of the year. And for those who have been here before, we run an interview series highlighting some of the other superheroes from our team, people who are health practitioners, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are helping people within their business and Healy, and to dissect their mind, their story for inspiration, for tips, strategies, and support for everyone here to grow together. And so today we actually have Tracey Banes. She has been, helping people self-heal through microcurrent, through frequency therapy, through energy medicine in her clinic for many, many years. She's a mum of 3. She's a grandmom of 4. As I mentioned, she lives in the Gold Coast and has been helping people with the people that get to the end of their tether. They've tried all the healthy alternatives. They've tried all the different, maybe modern medicine structures of healing, and they've gone, oh, I need to try something different. And so she's helped many people with chronic illnesses, and she's the person that gets called up when nothing else works. And so today we actually have Tracey here joining us to share a bit about her story, frequency, energy medicine, some testimonials that she's been experiencing with the Heely. And I'm really excited to have you here, Tracey. So thank you so much for your time. So I'd love to start. Well, let's just maybe unmute you. There we go.
There we go. Thanks, Zach, and welcome everyone. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for being here. And so, yeah, we'd love to start off with a bit of your story. How did you come to being, I think, with your background, with what you're doing, you're juggling, a family and a successful business and Healy now, one of the many super mums out there. How did you come to find Healy, and what is some of your background? I'd love to know a bit more about that.
Okay, well, I first got into healing about 14 years ago. My son is a professional tennis player and he had a really severe hip injury, and I was trying to find a way to avoid him having surgery. Unfortunately, he needed to have the surgery, but I did come across an energetic medicine device that I used on him as soon as he had his operation, and I actually got him back on the court in 3 months instead of 6 months. So I was pretty impressed by that. And then it's sort of grown from there that I've added other devices to my collection. So I've got a couple of different Russian devices and a couple of different German devices. And of course, the Heely is a German device. So that's in a nutshell, but it's a lot more complex than that.
And so that started many, many years ago. And so what is it that you do in clinic specifically?
Okay, I use several devices in my clinic. I use a German physio key, a Russian scanner. I also have a Russian bioresonance device, and of course the Heely. So I've got 4 different electrotherapeutic devices. They all do slightly different things and all work synergistically together. In addition to, I also have crystals and essential oils, and I use YouTube healing music. So lots of different things with frequency, which all help to improve the healing process of the client.
Amazing. And so were you always into frequency therapy, or what were you doing before that? And what kind of opened your mind up to, I guess, realizing that frequency therapy or energy medicine actually works? Obviously that story that you mentioned, but were there other components that really, helped you understand, like, oh my gosh, this is a real thing?
I've always been interested in natural therapies. I did a little bit of study on homeopathy and supplements and essential oils and things early on when my kids were young. I was never one for using drugs or anything like that, even though at the time when I was growing up early on, my dad was a medical rep for Glaxo and he was a chiropractor after that. So I was introduced a little bit to natural medicine through my dad's chiropractor, because he was one of the first chiropractors in Australia. But then after that, as an adult, I was a tennis coach for 25 years and I did a bit of massage therapy as well. So I was just always into the healthy living and healthy aspect of things.
Got it. And so you've got 4 different frequency machines. I'm sure every single one of us on this video right now is like, I want to try all of them. What is the difference? I'd love to know, what is the difference between them, and how do they really work?
Okay, the physio key and the scanner are similar devices using the scanner technology. They work on the skin, so it's a handheld device that looks a little bit like a remote control. We place it on the skin and it works along the nervous system and rebalances and regulates the central nervous system. So it works on mind, body and spirit, but it is very, very good for physical conditions such as bad backs and necks, any nerve problems, things like that. It does, all these energetic medicines things do work on everything, just like Healy does, but it's more a physical thing. So I use that one. And then the bioresonance, that actually measures the energy fields of the body similar to the Healy, and it identifies the frequencies of things that might be parasites or might be toxins or mold or viruses, bacteria, things like that. So we can then go down the path, well, if, for example, a parasite is being indicated, well, then we can either use parasite type programs with the Healy or herbals or nutritionals or something like that. So it gives us the energy options of what might be the cause, because as we know with Healy, everything has a frequency. So it allows us to be a little bit more specific. So it also has a rebalancing function like the Healy does, but it's just that it gives us a few more answers. I know some people with Healys, they like to know what's going on, not just here's the answers with Healy. So it gives us a little bit more of a look into the details of it. And also it identifies what organs are out of balance. So sometimes it gives us all the answers, and sometimes it might say, oh, the whole endocrine system's out of balance, or maybe it might be the liver's out of balance. But it's very, very detailed. It's got over 1,000 different screenshots in the program, so we can identify, even right down to DNA and RNA, what's going on in the body. So it's very, very comprehensive.
Amazing. That sounds like a pretty expensive machine.
Yes, it is. A lot more expensive than the Healy.
And so is it true that before you found Healy, you were actually looking into Timewave?
Correct. I was introduced to Timewave about 6 years ago, and I thought this is absolutely amazing, but it was at the time $65,000 for the full suite of the program, and I thought, I don't have $65,000 to buy it, and I can't justify charging people a lot of money for the treatment, because most people that come to me have no money. They've spent all their money on doing everything, and I just couldn't afford it, even though it was absolutely fantastic, and it still is fantastic. So when the Healy came along, I thought, this is amazing. It will fill in the gaps that I have, and yet we've still got access to the Timewave technology.
Okay. So $60,000 Australian for getting on the Timewave machines, obviously, that is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
That is a lot of money. And so obviously with the Healy. And so how was Healy introduced to you, and what have you been noticing since using it within your clinic?
Healy was introduced to me by one of my Singapore colleagues that I met about 6 years ago. He had a bioresonance machine from Russia, the same as me. So that was, he introduced it to me early this year. And then a colleague of mine, Sally Diamond, who we actually went to Russia to do our training on the bioresonance back 10 or so years ago. And she said, oh, my sister's just got this great device that uses Timewave technology. And I thought, wow, need to jump on board. So that's sort of how I was introduced to it. As far as it goes in the clinic, I use it in two different ways. I do have quite a few remote clients that I work on that are interstate or international, which I've got some great results from that. And then otherwise I use it in my clinic. When I'm treating them with the scanner or the physio key, I will put the Healy on them as well. And what I do notice is with my scanner and physio key, it works on numbers. So it measures the energy field of the body and guides me as to where to work. And with the Healy, what it's actually doing is I'm finding 10 or 15 minutes into the treatment, the numbers are dropping down significantly. So it's creating a big change in the energy field of the body. So it's actually accelerating the healing process even faster than what the devices do on their own, which normally with scanner and physio key, we heal people up maybe a third of the time of what it would normally take to heal something. So I'm noticing, almost instantaneous changes. So it's allowing my other devices to work better, and as I said, have a synergistic effect. So we can get people better, quicker, faster, more effectively. So, I love it.
This is really exciting. So you're saying even just with using your other frequency machines, you were helping people heal their bodies within a third of the time.
Correct.
And now you're adding in the Healy, and it's even faster.
Correct.
Okay, amazing. And just for anyone, listening to this recording later on, the Healy is never designed to cure, prevent, reverse, treat, diagnose any condition. It's just helping the body get back into bioenergetic balance. So I'd love to know, what are some of the results that you've been seeing within your clinic, within your friends or family, or within just people that have been using the Heely so far? Because I guess it's been, what, 5 months since you've had a Heely?
Yeah, roughly that 4 or 5 months. So yeah, well, probably, as you said, the Healy and all my other equipment doesn't treat, cure, diagnose, etc. It works out the energetic imbalances and then provides those to the body so it can then go through the healing processes. A couple of clients that I'm treating at the moment, particularly one fellow, he's been coming to me for about 5 weeks, and he's very lucky to be alive. 16 years ago, he was skydiving and he got thrown out of the plane, hit his head on the wing, got knocked unconscious and plummeted 17,000 feet to the ground and survived. So lucky to be alive, was in a coma for several months, and he came to me 5 weeks ago and he had massive trigeminal neuralgia, that he would feel like it was someone was whacking him in the face with a hot iron in all these different spots. It would be absolute agony for him. So I sort of thought, this is going to be a really, really hard case. This could take years to help this guy. And he couldn't talk, he couldn't eat, you know, every little movement with his tongue, you know, he'd have these massive attacks, you know, these bolts of lightning, which would be horrendous. And within 2 sessions, and what I would do in a session, I would do half an hour of resonance with him, and I would do half an hour using my scanner and the wristbands with the Heely. So we'd essentially have an hour of Heely with half an hour of the scanner. Within 2 weeks, he was able to talk normally. He was able to start eating food. He was lucky if he was getting 1 attack a week. And last week when I had him, he's had no attacks for the last 2 weeks. So in a matter of 5 weeks, he's had an absolutely miraculous improvement. And what I found with a lot of people when they're in a lot of pain or with really chronic issues, their brain and their emotions and subconscious gets in the way of their healing. So this is really changing their mindset, because they get stuck in a rut and get told, often by the medical profession, that nothing can be done and you have to learn to live with it. And all you can do is take drugs. So the Healy tends to be changing their whole mindset and the way they approach things. So it's almost like it's removing the veil so that there's hope for them and they can actually start feeling normal, which, you know, they were told that would never ever happen. So that was one really amazing case. Another one I've got at the moment is
just to hold that on there. That is, wow. Can everyone take that in for a second? So this man fell out of the plane, unconscious, survived. That's a miracle alone.
Exactly.
And for many years had these incredible pains throughout his incredible head. That's powerful. And then what you mentioned is that our mind, our psyche, these emotional, I guess, experiences and memories into the body hold us back from healing. And so were you using, I guess you're using all your machines, I'm guessing, and you're using with the Heely, any specific programs or anything like that helped, or?
Well, what I've been doing with this fellow is I normally run with resonance while we're chatting for the first half an hour. I do bark flower remedies, I do materia medica and amino acids and tissue salts, because I find that way he can get, or clients will get, the digital nutrition, plus the bark flowers is very, very powerful to work on the mind and balance the mind up. So I do that for the first 4 programs, and what I do is I run it for 37 seconds 4 times in a row. And then I run the all Healy programs, and the top 4 programs that show up for that, I do the same thing. I run them for 37 seconds 4 times in a row. So that way that takes about half an hour, and that's basically my protocol of what I do for my remote treatments as well. So I'm selecting 7 or 8 categories and running them for 37 seconds 4 times, and that seems to be the most effective way of doing that. And then what I do is with the all Healy program that showed up the highest percentage, I then find which is the highest one in that group, and then I stick on either the wristbands or the ear clips with him, and I run that for the second half an hour.
Okay, and why, I'm curious, why the 37 seconds and not the 1 minute or the 3 minutes?
Okay, the reason being, in the Timewave webinars and in the manuals, Michael Dance has said that it is 37 seconds 4 to 8 times for acute, and for chronic is 2 minutes 49 for 4 times. So they're the 2 ones that I've seen. I have tested out other lengths of, because we've got all these other different lengths of time in the resonance, I have tried for 26 minutes, for 12 minutes, for 5 minutes, and the 37 seconds 4 times in a row seems to be the most effective. And the analogy that I was given by, I think it was Marcus in one of his videos, was that it's a bit like pinching someone. If you pinch someone and hold it, after a while, you don't feel that pinch anymore. But if you continue pinching, there is a reaction. So you get more of a reaction with the subconscious by doing it short bursts and quickly. And I even find with some of my clients that have got their own Heelys, that if they're very energy sensitive, they can only do sometimes 1 second or 17 seconds because it is too much. So that's just something else to be aware of.
So could you just say that again? So someone who's really ill?
Energy sensitive, like
Okay.
for example, if they're sensitive to EMF, if they're sensitive to sounds and vibrations and crowds and things like that, they may only be able to do 17 seconds once.
I have had that, even doing some of the, so for those who don't know, you might be confused, what are we actually talking about? In the Heely analysis app, so it's the resonance, only those that have a resonance with that second app, there's, when you do a scan, it gives you the opportunity to click vibrate, and under vibrate, there's different settings from 1 second up to 9 hours for how long you can, what Tracy is talking about is the pinching the unconscious, which I love that. Such a great metaphor. And so by doing the 37 seconds, it's pinching, causing more of a, I guess some more of an influence than say, 26 minutes, holding that subconscious kind of view. And some people who are quite energy sensitive, maybe just doing 17 seconds. So that's really, really important. Okay. Wow. Okay, really, really interesting. So yeah, tell us more. What else have you got?
Okay. Another client I'm treating at the moment, she's stage 4 of a particular disease, which will remain unnamed. She was in Gold Coast Hospital, basically in palliative care. So she was basically just waiting in God's waiting room, as we say. And I gave her 3 half-hour remote sessions, and she would just be on FaceTime with me, and she would just close her eyes and just, meditate while I was doing the scan. And I would do the same thing. I'll do the bark flowers, the tissue salts, the amino acids, because she hasn't been able to eat anything for a long time. She's basically on soft food. And I would just read out what the bark flower remedies were saying and things like that, so she could get it into her psyche what was going on, because she'd basically just given up. And then after 3 sessions, I rang her for a 4th session, and she said, "Oh, I'm going home this afternoon." And she was all, peppy and all normal, whereas before she sounded like a really sick person. And she's been home the last 2 weeks. So she's going really, really well. And I think anything's possible with this technology. If you can get someone off their deathbed and change their whole mindset, anything's possible.
Wow. Is that not insane? Okay. Gosh. So, okay, from your understanding, Tracy, with what you know, with your experience, what is actually going on here? Like how is this actually working from your understanding?
Okay. Everything has an energy field, and all of us have our own individual energetic fingerprint. And what the Healy does is, when we scan the person in for a remote session, we become the conduit or the surrogate for them. So we put in their details, their photograph, their name, their date of birth, and whether they're male or female. That's the only information I put in. And I then hold their Healy in my hand, and I resonate their vibration as a surrogate for them. And then I go into their file, and then the Healy, when I'm doing a scan, it's actually a bit like when you put your car in for a service and they plug it into the machine and find out where the energetic imbalances are. That's exactly what the Healy does. It finds out, okay, where are the frequency gaps, the energy gaps? And then when we run it on vibrate, it sends those energies through to patch up the holes in our force field. And patching up those holes, it actually changes the way the body functions. So it helps to change the way the mind works, the way we think, the way we anticipate. I took some notes before with some of the words. It analyzes, rebalances, and it changes our whole intention of things. Like with this lady, for example, she was realizing that she was very negative towards people. She'd given up, and she was angry with the world. So anger kept coming up. So as she started to realize, yes, I am angry, I need to have more gratitude and not be angry, changes the way she thinks, and then her whole body changes. Because what we think, because we are 70% water, as per Dr. Emoto, I don't know if anyone's researched him, but he's done a whole lot of research on how sound and words affect the vibrations of the body in water, and how saying negative things can actually have a negative effect on your body. So by saying positive words and changing the words that we say and affirmations, it can actually change the way our whole body functions and our whole outlook on life. It's just like if you find you go into a room with a negative person, you feel horrible. You go into a room with a really happy, vibrant person, you come up feeling fantastic. So that would be probably one of my best ways to explain how the Heely is working.
Interesting. This is beautiful. Thank you for these reminders. Yeah, it is really fascinating stuff.
What else? I've got another really good testimonial if you want one too.
Keep coming. All right. Yep.
Okay. I've got a 38-year-old autistic man down in Melbourne who is the son of one of my mum's friends, and he's been autistic from birth. And with Melbourne being in lockdown at the moment, they've gone through a lot of stuff down there. And this poor guy, he's very sensitive to what's in the media. He's sensitive to what's going on everywhere. And of course, there's a lot of negative vibes down there at the moment. Now, I've been doing 2 sessions a week on him with the 30 minutes, probably for about 6 weeks now. And he started actually doing his chores without being asked. He hasn't been horrible physically to his parents. You know, he used to get quite aggressive with them, which does often happen. He's sleeping much better. Instead of watching really dark, horrible stuff on the internet, he's now starting to watch comedies and happy things. He's starting to cooperate more when they go out for a coffee with his sister and his little niece. He's actually quite more manageable now. So his mum's actually starting to see some light at the tunnel, because she's had 38 years of very challenging times. So she's very, very happy at the moment with how he's going. So that's a really tough call. And as I said, it's remote. You know, he's in Melbourne and I'm up here. So
that's incredible. So you're doing the Heely, you're tapping in, you're being present, you're running these programs for him.
Correct.
Between the 4 to 8 times on 37 seconds.
Yep.
And for those that are more chronic, is it, you say through 2 minutes 49?
2 minutes 49 for 4 times.
4 times.
Yep.
And doing through the bark, the amino acids, the materia medica, and
the tissue salts.
Yep. As well as running the all Heely programs, as well as running those 4 times each. I think you're saying whatever comes up, number 1.
Yep.
So this is,
because what I also find is both with autism, but also with other people, often they can't get the nutrition that they need into their system, either because they can't eat, can't swallow, or they can't absorb things due to intolerances in their gut. Things like that, or they mightn't like the foods that they want, or they don't have the money to buy the supplements that they need. So I find that the tissue salts and amino acids and materia medica tend to fill in the nutritional gaps digitally and really help the body to then function properly. So it's been a huge shift, and I've had a lot more success doing that.
Oh gosh, this is so good. So shifting gears, and if you have any more do you have any more testimonials for us?
I've got lots and lots and lots, because every client that walks in the clinic gets great results. But I suppose general things that people are saying to me that have been regular clients for a long time, they say they feel calmer, they feel more balanced, they're sleeping better. The sleep's probably a really big thing with a lot of people. And one of my clients who has his own Healy, he experimented a little bit with running a whole 8 hours of sleep program. He's done other ones just for like the 20 minutes. He's done it on resonance for 37 seconds, 10 times in a row. He's been playing around a little bit with it, but he is finding he's getting to sleep better and he's not waking up. And he's a tradie who works really hard and has trouble sleeping. So I'd have to say the sleep programs are working really, really well with a lot of people, because a lot of people just can't sleep. They're too wired up, or too much technology, or there might be a lot of stress going on in their life. So the sleep programs are fantastic.
Gosh. And so where do you see this going? Like, with only 150 or so thousand people using a Heely, I don't think many of them even have this knowledge that they can use the Heely in this way. But what does this mean for the world if, say 1 million people have a Heely? What do you think is going to start to happen to the collective of the world?
I think it's going to change the whole vibration of the world completely. It's like when a group of Zen monks all do a big meditation, it can change everything considerably. So especially with all this stuff that's going on in the world at the moment, all this negativity with all the COVID stuff and a lot of the fear factor that's out there, I think it can actually try and help people to balance up and not be scared and realize that there is a lot of good in the world and we can change the world and there's nothing to be scared of if we provide enough nutrition in our body through correct eating of food. It is very important to live cleanly. Our environment is important. The Heely helps to plug in the holes energetically to help us absorb the right foods, get the right mindsets and be happy, because there's not a lot of happiness in the world at the moment. So if you can be happy and friendly and community minded like you do with all your things, Zach, then it rubs off on people and then they start to be happy and then that helps the next person. So hopefully there'll be a massive shift in the world with Heely, and I think it can only just keep going. And all the new programs that Timewave has thousands and thousands of things in the background. So whatever they bring onto Heely, bring it on.
It's just the beginning. It's really
absolutely.
And so you've now been starting to share Heely. We've done a couple of parties at your house, some presentations and things like that. Do you have any tips or words of advice for anyone sharing Heely who's maybe new, who's just starting this for the first time? What kind of guidance would you have for these guys?
I'd probably just say to people, a good way to describe the Heely and the body is our bodies are a bit like an orchestra. Every single organ has its own frequency, just like all the different instruments have their own frequencies. If you have an instrument that's out of tune, it plays horrible noise. If one of our organs or systems is not working properly, we have disease and dysfunction. So if we can tune our bodies in, like you tune instruments in, you can then function properly. So most people these days have an ache or a pain or a whinge or something or other to complain about. All I would say is, I've got this fantastic new device. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. You don't even need to say anything about it. You don't even need to know anything about it. Just put it on people and say, how are you feeling now? Don't have a cup of coffee with them or something and then see how they are in half an hour. Even if you've just got a gold program, the gold cycles are fantastic. So just put it on and ask them how they feel. And I'm pretty sure most people will say, oh, I feel much better, or I don't have that sore back, or I'm more relaxed now, or something or other. But just put it on them and spread the word.
That's it. Let the Heely do the talking, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Get out of the way. Just say, hey, can I get your opinion on this? Is a good one. Or hey, can you just try this out? I'm practicing. Can you be my guinea pig for a session? I need to practice.
Absolutely.
Or I just try this out. I think you're gonna love it. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that you run a business, successful business. I know that you've got a big, beautiful family. Like, how do you juggle your time in and around all this, as well as now Heely?
It's very busy. I'm very busy all the time. And often when I get home from the clinic at night, I might be running remote sessions on people. I just try and do what I can. I do try and get off technology after 7:30 of the night time so that I do sleep properly. I do try and allocate family time on weekends so that it's just for my family. So it's all about balance, and that's what life should be and energy should be. It's all about balance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so important. I guess some people are asking here, does the Heely not work? Does it ever not find a result with some of your clients?
I don't believe it's possible for it not to find results, because it is filling in the gaps. Yes, some people might notice a whole lot. It might be very, very subtle. And some people, like with my other equipment, they might need 2 or 3 sessions to notice significantly. It depends on what's going on in their life, what's going on in their body, how aware they are with their body, and how open they are to it. Definitely people that are very close to energetic medicine and say, oh, this is just garbage, they're going to be a little bit of a challenge. And sometimes you need to back off a little bit and say, oh, well, maybe this is not for you, and take it away from them and go and do it on other people, and then they'll be more curious and want to come back and try it. Or you can work on their other partner, their friend, whatever. They'll see the results in the other person and then they'll want it. So, but there are definitely naysayers out there who think it's a load of rubbish, and they're the ones that'll get left behind. And you just need to put your energies into the ones that are open to it, because there's a lot that are.
And I love your posture in that as well, just that certainty of, you know, you're respecting your time. You don't want to be convincing anyone. You don't want to be dragging anyone. You don't want to be, you know, influencing someone to something that they're not open to. There's so many people out there who are looking for health results right now. In this moment, there's people suffering. Yep. And that's really what we have as, you know, it's an opportunity for everyone, but also this responsibility now that we have this. Do you think there's a component that comes into play with your certainty in that this is something that's really going to work? Do you think that has your intention that this is going to work has an impact as well? Because I find
absolutely
some people starting Heely, they might be like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, you know, there is that uncertainty that they have. So do you feel that that could impact the treatment?
I absolutely agree it does. Absolutely. If you question it, it's not going to have the same effect as if you believe in it, because as in a lot of Marcus's webinars, the intention is everything. And that's why I think on the Heely apps, it says these are affirmations. They're not meant to cure, treat, diagnose, etc. So if you have the affirmations, you read what is in on the scans, or even read on, even if you only have one of the first 3 models, read what is the definition of each of those little programs. Have that as an affirmation. You've got much more intention and you have much more chance of it having a great effect. Because if you don't believe it, then it will still work a little bit, but it won't work as well. So, but even if you're testing it out and just not sure about it, just say, I've got this amazing device. People tell me it's fantastic, but just be open to it and see what happens. So, and then once you get one really good result, you know it works, and then just keep believing it and telling people how good it is. Just say it works. I don't know how it works, but it works. Just try it.
And I think this is why we talk about product belief and company belief and belief in ourselves. You know, in some of our groups, we talk about the 5 beliefs. And so the product belief is something that comes from practice and trialing and then really hearing and reading the testimonials, or trying it on friends and family and hearing their testimonials too. So you've obviously heard, you know, for years these and obviously more accelerated results now using the Heely. So you have that posture. And so if anyone's out there kind of feeling that uncertainty of like, oh, is the Heely working? How do I do this? I don't even know how to use the app. Just borrow Tracy's posture, please. Borrow Tracy's confidence, you know, and really be that stand for people if people aren't that stand for themselves. And so I think that's a really important point. So the question here was, were you running the microcurrent on the wrists as well for some of these clients?
The remote ones I wasn't, because they're interstate. When I use it in the clinic, I either use the ear clips or the wristbands. I have also, in the beginning, when I first got my Heely, I had no wristbands or ear clips. So all I had was just the Heely itself. So I did actually just clip it on the client sometimes because I didn't have anything else to use. And it does appear to work doing that as well. So that is an option for some people if they don't want to be tied up with the wristbands or the ear clips. Just clip it on your shirt and just run it. But just experiment a little bit. People that are more energy sensitive are going to be able to feel it more so than others. But I'd just say play around with it. Try all the different programs yourself. See what works for you, because you will find some programs have more an effect on you than others. When I first got mine, all I had, that first one you loaned to me, Zach, had the gold and the pain on it. And I would come home on a Friday night exhausted, and I would just run a couple of the gold cycles, and it would actually bring me up from exhaustion up to normal, and then I'd have a really good sleep. So I was testing it out as well in the beginning, just to see how it worked on me before I did it on other people. But, you know, there's so many programs that work on so many levels. Just go ahead and use it. Use your own testimonials. Use it on your family and friends. Even if you get some so-called failures that they don't notice big results, just keep trying, because you will get the results. You'll get the amazing results. And then you go, oh, wow, this is sensational.
Oh, and that's how it starts. And as Brandon's saying here, is that we now have the power to end suffering at scale, right?
Absolutely.
We're able to connect with people globally, using social media, using Zoom, connecting with people, having that in the palm of our hands, literally, is mind blowing. So, that is amazing.
Well, in my clinic, I get a lot of people that are in pain, because that's the name of my clinic, Chronic Pain Therapies. But, and probably over 60 years of age, nearly everybody you speak to is on a pain med of some sort. And they don't need to be, because either they're not eating properly or the doctors have just put them on these drugs anyway. So it's really, really important that if anyone is on a lot of medication, and that's probably the other point with my other equipment that I have, when anyone's on medication, often it tends to hit like this, and it blocks the work of the scan or the physio key. Whereas with Heely, because it's working on the 12 dimensions, it's bypassing all of that where there's no time or space, and it still has the effect on the subconscious. So it's breaking down those barriers. Now I've got one client, she's been diagnosed with MS for the last 10 years, been in a lot of pain, and she was on about half a dozen different medications. Her daughter's been working on her with her Heely. She's now, I think, almost off all of her pain meds. And as long as she's getting her Heely treatment every couple of days, she's pain-free, she's eating better, she's more positive. So different person, and her Heely's due any day, so she'll be even better when hers arrives. But from the perspective with people in pain, which, there's a stack of them out there, or ones that are on antidepressants, they're a lot of the people that you want to try. Just say to them, give this a try. How good would it be if you didn't have foggy brain from all these drugs that you're on and you could function properly?
And that was when I first used the Heely on my jaw and my knee and different injuries that have popped up. I thought of all the people out there who are on these pain medications, and which ruins the digestion. People get constipated. Their whole energy is wiped. Obviously, pain may take them out of their pain temporarily, but long term, this is not healthy. This is creating a sustainable, supportive treatment for people globally, and I think this is massive. Gosh, this has been really, really insightful. Thank you so much for your time and your knowledge. Do you have any final words of anything to share with people out here?
Just put it on everyone you can out there, because yes, it will definitely change the world, because too many people are reliant on medications and not really being accountable for their lifestyle. And if they can make some lifestyle changes with diet, lifestyle, environment, give something like Heely a go, it can change their life completely, and they can look towards living instead of existing, which is what a lot of people do. And they can be happy. There's a lot of unhappy people out there. So give it a go.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tracy. And if anyone's in the Gold Coast, where can they find you, or if they want to come and get a session from you with there's other amazing frequency machines?
Okay, I'm in Highland Park, which is Central Gold Coast. My phone number is 0409 238 452. My business is Chronic Pain Therapies. So give me a call, we can have a chat and get you going and get you sorted.
And what was the name of your business again? Or make sure we put that in there.
Chronic Pain Therapies.
Chronic Pain Therapies. Amazing. If anyone's in the area, definitely reach out to Tracy. Thanks for sharing your mobile number on the Zoom. I think that's the first that's ever happened. So that's really awesome. And I love what you said, taking people just from living from existing, and then helping them live as well. So I just like to get everyone to share in the chat a little what has been your number one takeaway from this interview. Please chuck it into the chat. Would love to know what's your number one takeaway. I know a lot of them are sharing their love in here. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for sharing. Inspirational. Less is more. They loved your posture, mind-blowing, and positiveness. They're sharing as well. So this has been awesome. So thank you so much for your time. Heely provides hope for everyone. I love the fact that you said that this can change the world. Intention is key. Mahalo, XXX. I don't know what that means, but I think that's maybe love in another language. Love this, so inspiring. Share, and let's change the world. Specifics of treatment was awesome. Right path forward. Our body is an orchestra, and the organs are the instruments. Yes, if you have the wrong tune, of your organs, other parts of your body are going to be out of tune too. 12 dimensions, changing mindset for chronic sufferers. The vibration is awesome too. So yeah, thank you so much. Does anyone have any final comments? Brandon, do you want to say anything? Oh no, looks like his videos there's frozen. All good. But thank you so much, Tracey. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, everyone.